before these habits of the flesh come my way, before these trials and tribulations of this life try to tear me down and wipe me out, God says, hold it, stop it, just wait a minute before I permit you to test my child. Flesh, hold on. Bad habits, hold on. Self, hold on. Devil, hold on. Just a second here before you try to mess with my child. I have to get something for him. You see, God loves me enough to go into the closet of his grace. And he gets out a robe called grace. He places that robe called grace around my shoulders. And to make sure that while I'm going through my storm, going through my sickness, going through my joblessness, going through my pity party, going through my lost love, going through the fact that I'm tore up from the floor up, whatever I'm battling, God ties that rope of grace around me with a rope called righteousness by faith. Can I get a witness in here? The more the devil heaps on me, the more grace God places on me. The more you talk about me, the more grace God puts on me. The more trouble I run into, God's grace goes all over me. The sicker I get, the more grace God puts on me. The more lawyers I need, the more grace God puts on me. Is there anybody up in here who can stand with me and testify? Was it not for the grace? Was it not for the grace of God who led me, kept me, held me, rocked me in his arms? His grace is sufficient. Am I right about it? His grace is sufficient. Am I right about it? His grace woke me up this morning, started me on my way. His grace hold me when I'm not held. His grace, yeah, 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 yeah. His grace is sufficient. Grace, 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 grace. Somebody said marvelous grace. Somebody said amazing grace. Grace, grace, grace. 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 Here's the old song. His grace. When I think about where I came from, His grace. I was talking to Mother last night, and some folk look at me and think I didn't have no troubles. But we start talking about where we came from. How sometimes in little farms, Mom and Daddy, we didn't have no money. They didn't have no money. I'm just a child. Grandmother used to open up the little house door and go walking toward little farms, Metairie. And she'd knock on people's doors and ask, can I iron for you? And people would give her clothes. And we didn't have a washing machine. Y'all don't know about the scrub boards. Oh, y'all not in here. Y'all don't know about the scrub boards. And grandmother would come home with those dirty clothes. And she'd wash those clothes, and you remember you had to crank it. And then we was too poor to buy starch. Grandmother makes starch out of that corn stuff. Y'all not up in here. I'm talking about going way back. And she'd boil that starch and she'd put it in them white shirts and she'd iron. And she'd walk back down the dirt road. I can see grandmother right now. Walk down the dirt road, and I don't know what they gave grandmother, but she come home. And the person that daddy worked for gave him an old pickup truck. Them old time pickup trucks, and they could barely run, and it had the handshake on it. And she'd go to the store and buy something. And sometimes it gets so hard so I could eat. Grandmother would grab me by the hand, and we'd walk up to the airline highway and catch the Greyhound bus and go to Baton Rouge, where Aunt Edna used to live. And I'd sit there and I'd eat and be happy. We'd stay there long enough and go over to Aunt Plunksy's house. Stay Aunt Nancy, but I call her Aunt Plunsy. I couldn't say Aunt Nancy at that. I say Aunt Plunsy. And we stay there, and Aunt Plunsy could fix the best tea cakes in the world. And we'd walk back down Roosevelt Street, where Aunt Doris lived. Oh, yeah. I know about hard times. I said I know about hard times. And I can remember I wanted a pair of tennis. Y'all don't even know about the name, U.S. Kids. And they had the canvas back, and it was Christmas time. And I wanted some U.S. Kids and no money. And I could see grandmother in the rocking chair saying, Father, I stretch my hands to thee. No other help I know if thou withdraw thyself from me. Oh, where shall I go? By and by, Mama got a good job. By and by, Daddy never graduated from high school. But Uncle Aubrey taught him how to weld. And down at Avondale Shipyard, my daddy became one of the first black men to be the first class fitter. I know what I'm talking about. I know where I came from. God blessed us. Look at me now. Oh, I ain't rich, but every day I go to my refrigerator. I may not have everything I want, but at least I got something to get over. Can I get a witness up in here? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Had it not been for God's grace, God's amazing grace, just where would I be? And so now, grandmother sleeping in her grave. Daddy's 88 years old. Mama's 84. But I can tell you one thing. I know what she said. I know what my daddy said. I know what my grandmother said. I once was young and now I'm old, but never ever have I seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. His grace. So I don't take nothing for granted. I thank the Lord for waking me up. I don't know all this song, but it goes like this. Your grace and mercy brought